blinding flash of light, pretty inexplicably, we find ourselves right back where we started our journey in the subway tunnels under Tokyo. Just as to how we got here, I'm not totally sure, but well, I assume that if we keep following this tunnel, we should be able to make it to a station and make our way back to the surface. The thing is, something feels a bit off with all this. And in fact, if we look at our map, we'll see that we haven't really made much headway down this tunnel at all. And in fact, the further and further we seem to press down this tunnel, the less and less headway we seem to be making. Really, it seems our only avenue is to see what's behind this door here. And with that, we find ourselves in a very familiar setting, also from the start of the game. But who knows, there could be some other means. This could be another sewer. We could find another way out. Still, we probably should be careful. No idea where that monster could be. Though, it seems that we might have additional problems as well. We see the ghostly form of the head priest of the Holy Ring here. And he seems very intent on borrowing a book or a page from Dante's Inferno, saying that we should abandon a hope. Instead, just give ourselves into the darkness and give into the Hive. And we've made it this far. I don't really think that's the way we should go. And in fact, That Which Wonders brings up a new name, which is That Which Whispers. Seems that Which Whispers was what was whispering all these sweet messages of eternal bliss and being reborn into the Hive, into all those Holy Ring members in the first place. And there was that sound again. I could have swore that sounded like the footstep of the monster, but it's strange it was only a single footstep. Still, I do kind of wish we had some proper direction here. I feel like we're just kind of endlessly heading around in circles. I swear we were going further down this hallway. It seems like it's just a similar trick to what we saw out there in the subway tunnel. And yet again, we hear what sounds to be like the monster nearby, but uh-oh. Well, I can definitely hear it. It's just, I don't know, maybe we're picking up sounds from other nearby tunnels. Still, much like with the subway tunnel, everything just seems just not quite right. And it looks like we meet... even though the text does seem a bit off, I think this is supposed to be one of the old ones that we're supposed to share some electronic signature with. And it seems like the old ones are trying to make some last-ditch effort to convince That Which Wonders that its real place is in the Hive and to fulfill what the Hive wishes. Still, That Which Wonders is pretty faithful to us. our cause of taking down the Hive. Alright, this is just getting silly. I feel like I'm getting trapped in some kind of weird alien funhouse here. Yeah. This is definitely an alien funhouse of sorts. Now, this could easily be the ghostly form of Naomi. I mean, we did kind of get her captured in that stairwell so long ago, and after being in the data center, we do know that this alien Hive does have the ability to capture human souls and keep them stuck in eternal torment. It's just not entirely certain why the Hive would want to keep Naomi here, stuck in this pretty picturesque looking sunflower field. So she seems, I don't know, she seems to be guilting us. I mean, she seems to understand that we didn't want to die, but she seemed to hope somewhere deep down that we would be able to save her at some point. So, one of the things about this entire place is that you do inevitably have to check every room. Because behind every door there is these bizarre little vignettes with just different things and different people that we've met throughout the game. And each one of them seems very inclined to make us feel a very particular thing, whether that be guilt, regret, a sense of helplessness, or in this case, Camilla here wants to influence us in very much the same way as the Holy Ring Priest was, in pretty much feeling a sense of utter hopelessness, and to just give in to this Hive mentality. But I don't really know if it's the smartest thing to follow anything that Camilla or that head priest would have to say. Even if things do seem pretty hopeless right now. Yeah, this entire area is one you can very easily get lost in. There are any number of endlessly repeating hallways and a number of doors you really have to go out of your way to find, otherwise you won't be able to complete this area. Also, you might be wondering why we are running into all these old ones. Well, the entire point is, well, depending on who you have as a partner, these rooms will change accordingly. I have seen some other videos where if you're playing as Naomi, you'll run into Naomi's mother here, and she too will give you a little bit of a guilt trip. It gives you a little bit more backstory into Naomi's life, but since we are walking around that which wonders, we end up seeing a lot of strange beasts that more have to do with his backstory and, I guess, trying to manipulate him. And this thing, amazingly enough, is not something that is a manifestation, I suppose, of either our main character's mind or that which wonders. This thing, that which sways, is in actuality a part of that which whispers. and it gives us some very, very helpful information, such as the fact that these stones we are carrying around are, in some way, some means of shutting down the Hive forever. Now, as to why this thing suddenly wants to help us or seem helpful in some way, it's because it doesn't really want to. It's just this entire area is a place controlled by that which whispers, and it brings out certain terrifying fears, certain inner regrets. It goes into your subconscious and manifests that which you truly fear. It shows you your inner self, and that which sways is not only a part of that which whispers that manifests these feelings, but also, well, echoes that which whispers' own feelings and inner self. So maybe in that way it too is trying to take down the Hive, just to stop this endless string of death and regret. But most importantly, that which sways did reveal to us that, I guess, the final stone is being held by that which whispers. But we are not done yet with our trip through memory lane and all of its horrible visions. Now, our talking with Renee here does bring into question whether we are merely projecting these images of people that we've failed, people that we've left behind to die, or if instead maybe these are trapped souls within the Hive and they are working in conjunction with our own memories to show us that indeed their souls are still very much suffering. I mean, it especially seems like Renee is very cognizant of the fact that she's not just a mental projection, she is in fact very much dead. It's just one of many questions you could have while making your way through this wonderful place of Wilhelm screams. But really, we just want to make our way out of here, and we are very close to that. Yeah, I do really enjoy these bizarre visions that you have with that which wonders. They really want to try to show you that the entire catalyst behind any of these creatures that we've been running into in the Hive is just a work towards that one singular goal of the great reunion and being reborn into darkness and rejoining into the Hive as a singular entity rather than being broken apart to, you know, rebuild the Dark Messiah / Dark Prince. And warning that which wonders that if he doesn't give up on this foolish attempt to destroy the Hive, that once that great reunion happens, that which wonders will not be able to rejoin in that great rebirth. It's very interesting, just the different ways that this horrible labyrinthian... Oh, there's so many screams. That this place will just try to attack your subconscious, but we have finally made it to where we want to go. And say hello to that which whispers. The horrible thing that was digging deep into our subconscious to drive us insane and into a state of unending fear and terror. But we've managed to persevere. We've gotten through his maze of mighty illusionary Wilhelm screams. And he does hold the final key that we need to take down the Hive. And you would assume, naturally, that that which whispers would want to maybe stand in our way further, but he doesn't seem to mind giving us what we want. In fact, he thinks that, you know, it's that final step that we need to get to the altar, to become that final piece of the Dark Prince. And he sees absolutely no harm in giving us exactly what we want, because, well, there's just no stopping the Hive. And just like that, we find ourselves back in the repeating subway tunnel. We don't need to go any further down, because we're through with those illusions. And it's time to use our brand new stone and take one last final ride into the Hive. We've finally made it to the very heart of the Hive, the final destination on our trip through this tormented alien landscape in the center of underground Tokyo. And our trip would not be complete without a final visit by Razzo. It's good to know that he somehow is not dead. And as per usual, he seems to be more knowledgeable than he really should be. He gives us a few questions to ponder in our mind as we press our way forward. Just what was the altar made for? Why were we allowed to get this far in the first place? And inevitably, we've kind of figured out a good portion of this already, though in some small way I think that might be due to the fact that we are with That Which Wonders, but I feel pretty clearly that the game has covered the fact that we carry within us some special bioelectric pattern, in that inevitably we are this necessary final piece in the resurrection of the Dark Prince. I guess, though, this is to give us one last final question as to whether or not we are making the right choice, but, well, I hate to say it, but this is pretty much our only choice. There's no turning back now. There's no magical teleport to get back into the endless labyrinth of screens, or back into the Tokyo mesh where we could live forever in Middle Eastern festoonery. This is pretty much our only option. And it's our final option as we head through this final door. So the hybrid, which has been hounding our entire journey through the Tokyo Mesh and the Hive, has now gained almost sentience with, I suppose, the final piece of the puzzle right here in front of him. He has almost truly reverted back to his status as the Dark Prince. But it's not before we have one final showdown with him. Especially as that which wonders taunts him with the possibility that somehow or another we might just finally destroy him and the Hive. And well, it seems that Razzo has made another startling appearance here in the altar, and wouldn't you know it, he is a member of the Hive itself. He is what they call that which leads, whose primary purpose was to direct the final piece of the prince down here into the altar, which is why he has been assisting us and directing us this entire time. And normally he would be done with his entire goal, but for some reason or another, he feels that he has to step in and stop whatever the Hive is doing, because apparently whenever the Hive did crash land on Earth, it just broke down the entire purpose of the Hive, and the Hive is just slowly dying. Not even the rebirth of the prince will be able to save it. So, with his last bit of power, Razzo is going to take us right to where we can use these 4 stones to hopefully take down the Hive proper. And without that much of a ceremony, we are dumped into what is truly the final area of the game. And well, I have a number of major issues with this part of the game. First off, it's visually as interesting maybe as the rest of the Hive, and it's mostly straightforward. You can get a little bit turned around and lost, and well, I enjoy the overall maze-like quality it has. It does seem like it'd be very easy to get turned around, but in all honesty, it's pretty straightforward. And as you might be able to assume, the monster is indeed somewhere in this entire area. And the sounds of the monster can throw you off, because since this is just one large area, the monster could easily be on one of these upper ramps that we were walking across before, and it could really throw you off, because it could easily be down here on the same level as you are. It could be above you. You really won't know till it's right on top of you, about to kill you. But once you've gotten down where to go, you find your way to a teleport and this mysterious pillar of light here. This is where we are going to be throwing those stones that we've been gathering. And that takes care of 1 out of 4 of the stones. But this starts to bring up where this entire area starts to fall apart design-wise, because yeah, we aren't just magically taken to the next spot where we need to use a stone. Instead, we have to backtrack through this entire maze-like area we just went through to inevitably head back to the teleport where we started this entire journey at. And namely, this wouldn't be so bad, but while I do enjoy the aesthetic, it doesn't really lend itself to much in the way of landmarks or just ways to track your way back. Really, I found that the easiest thing to keep track of are the conveyor belts there, because you are going to need that to get to the teleport to reach those pillars of light. But also, as you can probably tell from all these pathways here, you aren't really given a lot of options of means to dodge the monster. So in case you do run into him, hopefully you did not keep Naomi, because she does have an attack, apparently. A psychic attack of sorts, but it doesn't seem to have that many shots from what I've been able to test around with it. I think That Which Wonders has maybe 6, 7 shots all total. Naomi has about half that. But really, as we make our way back to the start, the major issue comes up. And that's the fact that this area, this new quote-unquote area, may seem a bit familiar layout-wise, and that's because, believe it or not, it's the exact same one as we just went through, but with a slightly different color palette. It has the same conveyor belt, same monster placement, same everything. And that's inevitably why I decided to speed it up, because sincerely, you do not wish to see this area redone again, but well, that's kind of the problem. We are now 2 out of the 4 stones destroyed, but guess what? Those other 2 areas we have to go through, that's right, they are the exact same. So just to save us some time and me some not bitching at the game, just gonna skip to the very final Pillar of Light and the inevitable end of the game. And that's right, your final boss fight for the game was the same area repeated 4 times over. Truly a lackluster way to end this very unique, very strange game, but we have finally frozen all the power that the Hive has, and that means that Razzo will soon turn into a fossil, a little stone statue here deep underground. And it seems that for some reason or another, there is a human-made elevator leading back up to the surface in the altar room here. But what of our good friend That Which Wonders? Well, as you can imagine, he probably would not fit so well up on the surface, and well, he is kind of in the same state as Razzo, where he is a part of the Hive, and we have pretty much shut down the Hive entirely, so he is going to end up like all of his other brethren down here, turn into a stone fossil, and just cease to be. Still, I do appreciate his effort, his company, his magical beam attack. They were all very much appreciated. And he too has enjoyed our time together, but with that out of the way, it's time to head back up to the surface. That is our ending for Hellnight. We've set off a small nuke underneath Japan, and I assume everything is right as rain. See you next time.